Well, guys, this morning was an early start and I had to go and take Alex to volleyball. And so Chris took over breakfast, which is absolutely wonderful because coming home and not having to make breakfast as well is awesome. But as I come in, he says, well, I did something different today.
So today I'm using a bunch of leftovers again. I basically took our leftover buckwheat and kind of made like an equivalent of chicken fried rice with buckwheat instead of rice. So we'll see what this tastes like.
Does it have chicken?
No.
Well, how's it chicken fried
There's
rice?
Eggs.
Egg fried rice, not chicken fried rice.
Egg fried rice.
It's early in the morning. It's actually really, really good. I have to admit, we tried it last night with the as rice. And I did say I was going to come back with the test results, and I didn't do that. I tested 9.2 after that meatballs with the buckwheat meal. And like this, I really, really enjoy it. It's not the same as rice, but it's very, very similar to rice. And it's got like a dried out texture to it, which is really, really good. Oh, yeah. So once again, we're in the process of making smoothies. And I was digging fruit out of the freezer, and I know it can get boring for you guys as viewers, because we do this every second day. We have a smoothie because it is healthy and gives us so much opportunity to cram so much into our diet. But we can also have a lot of variety with these smoothies because we grow so much fruit and we purchase so much fruit. And I just wanted to touch on that quickly because here you can see we have some wild blackberries that we harvested right here on the homestead. We get a lot of blackberries here. But I also have some store-bought blueberries. And that doesn't mean that we don't grow blueberries, because we do. We grow a lot of blueberries, but we eat a lot of fruit. So we're still at that point where the bushes aren't quite producing enough to keep us in stock. So we're using store-bought today and preserving those homegrown ones because I really want to make some blueberry sauce coming up shortly. Well, tonight for dinner, we're trying that buckwheat, quote, rice again with another test. And I'm going to be eating Polly's Moroccan stew, and look at the dust on the top of that. This is a 2023. This is something that I always mean to eat, but we just never do. And that's what the Pantry Challenge is all about. Rotating stock and eating the stuff that's been sitting there for years. So we're going to take 2 of these up. We're going to add some of our bean sprouts, and we're going to make that buckwheat, and we'll see how we go. So the first thing we're going to do to get this meal ready is our buckwheat. And the wonderful thing is it works in my Pampered Chef rice cooker. As you saw the other day, we made this 10 minutes in the rice cooker, and then we just let it sit and steam, I guess you'd call it, and it turned out perfectly. So 2 cups water, 1 cup of buckwheat. It's exactly the same as rice. So we're going to get that started first because our Polly's Moroccan stew really just needs to heat up. So bean sprouts, these are something that we make with mung beans that we grow here on the homestead. You put 2 tablespoons of the dried mung bean into the jar. So you soak that for the first night, and then you drain it and rinse it in consecutive days for probably, 6 days? 6 days?
That, yeah.
Yeah, so it takes about 6 days to get a jar full, but that's from 2 tablespoons of the mung beans. So if you happen to be in a grocery store and you see those, they are worth it. You will need the little sprouting top, though, for your jars. I think our oil is just about warm enough. We've got a little bit of sesame oil in here because we love sesame oil. And we're going to put these in. So the one thing I will say is the Polly's Moroccan stew is kind of a complete meal. It's got onions, raisins, lamb meat, tomato broth. It is sort of a complete thing that you would normally put on rice or some sort of filler. And because we limit I'm smoking here. Because we limit the amount of carb content we have, that's where these bean sprouts come in really handy and are super wonderful. If you didn't have bean sprouts, you could use something like cabbage or something like that would just give it a little extra fill. But once these fry off a little bit, we're going to put our Polly's Moroccan stew in there and warm that up. And by then, our buckwheat should be ready, and it'll be a quick, easy meal, which is what the pantry is all about. And there you can see it's quite a meaty stew, and boy, oh boy, I wish you could smell it. I know I say that all the time, but it smells delicious. And the raisins are what makes it totally. So hopefully they don't send my blood sugars going. So our buckwheat is light and fluffy and ready to go into this. We're not doing anything pretty. We're just going to bung it all into the pan here and dish it up in bowls. I am super excited. I really hope that testing with this comes out with a good result tonight. The one thing I want to do is try this, and then I'm going to make, this is the beauty of having it in a can. I want to make the same meal again and use brown rice and test so that I know my blood sugar reaction to both, because the brown rice really seemed to set me off. The other night I got a 9.2 with this, but it was with teriyaki meatballs, which also have some sugar in them, and a whole bunch of other little factors. So I am very curious to see what this ends up resulting in. Well, guys, I will admit I have lost track of what day we're on. But this morning we started off the day with some Dutch baby pancakes made with almond flour, one of our favorite go-tos, and I will kind of include a little more information on that in a future one. It was a quick morning. Kids had to get to school. It's been really ongoing, I must say, as the kids get older and they get involved in things before school and after school. There's some really early starts. But we had our pancakes, a little bit of chocolate chips in there just as a treat, dark chocolate ones, of course, with some of our homemade strawberry sauce on top and a bit of maple syrup. And then I've spent the rest of the day editing these wonderful videos for you guys all to watch. And now we're on to lunch, and we're going to open a jar of our summer's best vegetable soup. And I have to admit, I only have 2 more of these left in the pantry. This one's from 2023. I didn't make it in 2024, and I don't really know why. I just never got there. So hopefully I can throw it together with some stuff out of the freezer. I still have potatoes from this year, obviously. So we might be able to still make this one together, but it's one of my favorites, and I'm really sad that it's almost gone. So we definitely have to get into that. But the kids took a turkey barley soup for lunch, so we opened a big jar of that as well to get them a hot lunch. And I had a little bit left over, so we're just going to combine that with it and get it heated up, and we're going to enjoy that for lunch today instead of a smoothie. We've had a couple smoothies already this week, so we're skipping that for today and doing some homemade soup. But we definitely are starting to get a list of things that have come out of that pantry, which is super exciting because there's quite a list of things going back into the pantry as well. So I'm taking a look at this soup right now, and I can see in there corn, carrots, beans, potatoes, onions. So all in all, especially if I can use some Italian style tomatoes or tomato juice for this, I certainly think it's something that we could make, because most of these items I have in the freezer. Obviously not the potatoes and onions, they're just stored downstairs. But I think we should try and make it. So let's see what we can get up to next week with that. I'll have to take a look and see what I can dig out. Well, we've documented breakfast, lunch, and now we're doing dinner today. That's a first. I don't think we've done all 3 meals in the same day, but it's been one of those days. I actually had to take a nap this afternoon. I was just wiped. We'd had a couple late nights and early mornings, and I took a nap, so I was going to shortcut it and use a jar of taco meat to make taco salad tonight. And I got myself up and I said, you know what? I think I should just make it from scratch and save the jar because I have the time. So that's what we're having tonight. I've got lamb meat in here. And while I was in there, I discovered, and I should have taken you guys for the trip in the freezer, but we will do that. I have a lot of lamb loin chops. So we don't have the kids this weekend. The kids don't love lamb on the bone. So Chris and I are going to have these. I'm going to get them defrosted tonight and get them marinating so that we can have them. We've also got a squash that we need to cook up. So that's what's going to be coming up. But I promise this weekend we are going to do some sort of project. I don't know. I really want to get out my juicer, so maybe that's what we're going to get up to. But for tonight, we're having taco salad. I'm going to use my homemade taco seasoning. I really like homemade taco seasoning, not store-bought, so going to use that one. The lettuce is just, we have lettuce still from over the holidays, so we're going to use it up. And everything else in this is going to come from the freezer. We've got, I'm going to put some corn in and probably some of those peppers. Then I do the lettuce and all the salad fixins and everything else. So that's going to be dinner. So I made a last minute decision, rinse them up. We're going to do mixed beans in these, like a refried beans. We're going to add it right to our meat. So we are using something out of the pantry. Yay! But that's going to go in here next. We're going to get that mashed up, and then I'll add the onions and peppers and all that sort of stuff. And seasoning, of course, because that is the best part. All right, so the meat is all ready to go. The salad is all ready to go. And yes, it is just lettuce. That's all I've got. I could grate some carrots in there or something, but you know what? The meat has peppers and onions and corn in there. And we're going to put some of our charred salsa and Southwest salsa in here and ranch dressing. That's where we're at. Everybody loves homemade ranch dressing drizzled over their taco salad. So that's where we're at because it's not salad season, so I don't have homemade ranch sitting in the fridge. So you're going to come along with me while we make that. And first thing we need to do, grind some garlic because I'm out of garlic powder and we do our garlic powder from scratch. We dehydrated our garlic, There you go. And we actually have to do that again, so I will be doing that soon. But I'm going to get this ground up, and then I'll bring you back, and we will go through all the ingredients in the homemade ranch dressing. Okay, so I've set Alex on the mission of doing the grinding of the garlic because I need to get going. We're running behind schedule, as we always are. So what this requires is 1 cup of mayo and a 1/2 cup of sour cream. And I happen to have, it might be a little less than a 1/2 cup, but we're going to go with this rather than open another one because we're in the times of preservation here. Pantry challenge time. We're not going to be buying more, so we're going to use what we got. Now I've got my mayo out, and we're going to add to this 1.5 teaspoons of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of dill, 1 teaspoon of dried parsley, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and we're going to put in 3/4 cup of buttermilk at the end. And I will say, don't just pour that in. Gradual and mix it up so you get the thickness that you want. Okay, so I keep putting a bunch of clauses in here. So I don't have buttermilk. I never buy buttermilk. But what I do is regular milk, white vinegar, and add it in about 2 tablespoons worth. I usually just put a little less than the 3/4 cup and fill it all up. Let that sit while you put the rest of the dressing together. It'll go kind of chunky like sour milk, and then it's perfect. So here you can see what I mean. I've got to do a bit more mixing, but we've kind of reached our desired consistency, and we still have probably almost close to a 1/4 cup left over. Now, granted, I did not have as much sour cream and mayo in there, so that could be part of the reason, but it is looking good and ready to go. All right, so of course, as you know, I'm keeping track of everything we take out of the pantry, and we did take those beans out, but we also had to take out a new salsa, and we're using the small jars of our Southwest salsa today. Love this one, and it's super good on taco salad because it's kind of sweet. So that came out of the pantry. We need to make a note. All right, so like I said, our bowl of lettuce, it's technically salad. We're adding our salsa. That was a little bit of the charred salsa that I had left from the other day. And then I'm going to add just a little bit. I might not use the whole jar, actually. Don't want it to be too runny. We'll get that in there. Some of our ranch dressing. Honestly, if you've never made homemade ranch, give it a try. We're going to stir this up and then add in our meat, cheese, and tacos. All right, final touches. Nachos are in. Always do them last so they don't get super soggy before you eat them. And voila. Hey guys, we are back. Another day, another dinner, and we have another round of our bean sprouts ready to go. So our last bean sprout meal was our Polly's Moroccan stew. This is a lamb stew that has raisins and all sorts of good stuff in it. And we had it with that buckwheat. Well, it's just buckwheat, but kind of treated it like rice, but buckwheat. And I tested an 8.4 after that meal, which I was super, super pleased with, considering it felt very full and very full of carbohydrates, even though it really wasn't. So super pleased, but that led to the question, what does it test with rice? And we have the opportunity here to make exactly the same meal, except tonight we're going to use our Riceberry rice. This is a black rice. It's supposed to be a healthier rice than white or brown. I don't know how it compares to wild rice. It's probably very similar, I would have thought. So we are going to cook this up. Again, same thing, 1/4 cup raw or not cooked is a portion size. So we're going to cook that up in our microwave rice cooker. I'm going to basically just fry off our bean sprouts, same as we did before, put in that Moroccan stew, and bada boom, bada bing, there's dinner. Super quick, super easy, and out of the pantry. Both these. This has been, I'm gonna reveal this even though it's kind of embarrassing. So this has been rolled up in the pantry. It's open, but it's been rolled down and tied up with an elastic band. And what we used to do was we would mix white rice with brown and black and then just kind of have a blend of all the rices. That was a more economical way, not necessarily the healthiest way, but it was a very economical way to feed us. And then we stopped doing the rice, right? So I had this down there. The best before date on this is April 3rd, 2023. So it is almost 2 years past expiration date, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be just fine. I mean, it's rice, right? So let's get this made. Let's get a test and let's see how we do. I'm very, very curious to see what the results are going to be. All right. So while our rice is steaming in our rice cooker and everything is in the wok simmering for dinner so that we can add that rice to it, I'm going to move on. We're in the middle of a freezer challenge, and in freezer challenge spirit, I started emptying the freezer this afternoon again. We have 5 things of tomatoes this time, and that's it. That's all of them. I took out 4, and then I went digging, and I found 1 more, and I said, why save 1? That's not enough for a batch. So I'm just going to do a little bit bigger batch of butter chicken. So that's coming up. They're going to defrost, thaw overnight, and hopefully we'll drain all that liquid tomorrow or the next day. Just depends how long it takes. But I also did something else. I took out lamb chops because we have so much lamb in the freezer, and we've got 2 more lamb coming to go into the freezer this week. So I took out 6 lamb chops, really, really nice loin chops. They're gorgeous. So we're going to get these marinated so that they can sit in the marinade all night and all day tomorrow, so that we can have a wonderful dinner tomorrow night with these grilled. All right, so for this marinade, this is kind of a very versatile one. You can use it for beef, lamb, really doesn't matter. I'm going to start with a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Now we're on to soy sauce. I usually go a little bit under that 1/4 cup. You can see that extra on the top of the measuring there. Same thing with the lemon juice, a little bit under that 1/4 cup. So we're going to use 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire, however you want to say that. 1 good sized tablespoon of basil. 2 teaspoons of our garlic powder. Alex ground this up fresh for me yesterday. 2 teaspoons of parsley. And about 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. So as we get this stirred up here, one thing I was going to say is you can add a little bit of hot, like sriracha or hot pepper, Tabasco or that sort of thing to this as well, if that's something you desire. I'm not going for that flavor today, so I'm not putting it in, but it is a really nice touch when you're on the barbecue and you want that. So now that we're mixed up, we're just going to pour this over our lamb chops, and then they're going to go saran into the fridge overnight. Look at that beautiful rice. It's gorgeous. It's actually purple. We looked it up. It's actually considered a purple rice, and you can see there it does have a purple tint to it. I wasn't supposed to put it all in. Shoot. All right, so now that I scooped half of that back into the pot, because my rice cooker only cooks, you have to have a minimum of 1 cup of rice in it for it to cook properly. And of course, a 1/4 cup each is our serving. So I was planning to set some aside for a different meal, and I just bunged it all in there. So we've scooped it out. It may be a little off, but hopefully it's pretty close to accurate. And now we're going to plate this up and enjoy. All right, it's a busy night here on the homestead. So now that I'm waiting my 2 hours in order to take my blood test to see how we reacted to that Riceberry rice, I am going to make some granola. We just ran out, I think it was last night actually, we had some granola as a snack, and I figured, you know what, I'm going to make some more because I got time. One thing I will say is I do have a recipe video for my granola, and I will link it above, but we have since made some pretty good changes to that because watching the carb content. So it is now almost as much nuts and seeds as it is large flake oats. All large flake oats, no quick oats anymore. We did find that my body was able to digest those quicker and turn it into sugar, and we got better readings when we ditched the quick oats, and even better readings when it started to be full of half nuts and seeds instead of the quick oats. So now we are 3 cups of quick oats and 3 cups of a nut seed mixture. But as I look at my ingredients that I have pulled out of the upstairs pantry, meaning they're already rated and open, I can already see a few things that we need to go down to the pantry for, and that's one of my favorite parts of the pantry challenge. So here we are down the deep dark dungeon pantry, and you know what? It's still looking pretty stocked behind me. I am super pleased that we are the type of people that stock a lot of food, because like I mentioned, I forgot to stock really before we started the pantry challenge. But we need to get a few things out of the store down here and take them upstairs in order to be able to really make out this granola, and then they'll stay upstairs in the upstairs pantry. And yes, in case you're wondering, you can hear chickens in the background. One of our silky hens had her chicks late. Actually, you know what? I'll go get her. Just give me a second. Meet Goldilocks. She's a little silky chicken. There she is. Oh, look at you for the camera. Good in there. She's super cute. But anyways, long story short, it got cold outside. She had babies late in the year and they were very, very small. So we decided we would bring her in, and she is in a crate inside the house until next week when it starts to warm up and be a little closer to normal outdoor baby temperatures, eh? What do you think, Goldilocks? She's Goldilocks because see all this gold color on her chest feathers? Anyways, that's the story of my pet chicken in the house. So anyways, after trying to show you my chicken, she pooped on me and I had to do a wardrobe change. But I'm back, and now it's time to just get down to business of what we were doing in the first place, which is getting the stuff to make some granola. So let's go take a look. So one thing we definitely need off the shelf is some more large flake oats. I do not have 3 cups in that bag upstairs. So that's first. Then it's going to be off camera because you can't see it, but we're going down here. I need some peanuts because we're almost out of peanuts upstairs, so need to do that. One of the most important parts, the maple syrup. Still working on the maple syrup that was purchased in our grocery haul video from 2023 before the pantry challenge of 2024. We're doing really good, especially now that we watched the sugars. We use a little bit of this on Dutch baby pancakes and the granola. That's about the only thing that we use this for. So 1 jar lasts us probably a month, maybe 2 a month. I don't know. I haven't actually tracked it, but we still have a lot left from what we bought that year. I think that's it. If not, I'll come back down. I also last minute decided to grab some of these dried apricots because why not? I don't use too many of them in there at a time because we do watch. I only want to have 1 cup of mixed dried fruits. So we've got apricots, we've got cranberries, cherries, raisins, and we're actually going to put a little bit of dates in it this time. I'm going to dice them all up because we really like dates and I have a bag full, so why not? And now that the bulk is all there, I'm going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and last but not least, before we get this all spread out on the pan, is the butter and syrup. Now, you want 3/4 of a cup of butter, or I'm doing a peanut butter combination, a natural peanut butter. It works great doing it this way. You can even put a little bit of oil in there to sub out some of that butter if that's your preference. 3/4 of a cup is a lot of butter. So that's what we're going to do. And then it's 3/4 of a cup of the maple syrup. Drizzle it all on top, stir it around, lay it out on your parchment lined cookie sheet, and in the oven it goes for about 22 minutes at 325. Now you're going to want to watch this because the key is do not overcook it. Do not wait until it's golden brown because it keeps kind of cooking and in those syrups, and the fruit will go very, very crunchy. So make sure you're taking that out as soon as you start to see the edges turn golden. Don't wait till the whole thing turns golden because it will be hard on your teeth. All right, so the granola is out of the oven. It smells amazing. I actually got extras of these parchment sheets for Christmas, so I was able to split it onto 2 racks so it went a little bit quicker. And I'm resisting the urge to try it because I really want to test properly for you guys. So, moment of truth has come. So we're going to test after that Riceberry rice. Sounds so weird to say that. And then hopefully get some good results. I've already washed my hands, so there's no excess sugar on them or maple syrup from making the granola. So let's test. All right, machine is ready. Let's see what the damage is. I really hope it's good because it tasted amazing. Let's see what it says. Oh, 9.4. Not terrible. I will be honest because we ate the buckwheat, was that 2 nights before we did it as testing with the, we had it with the meatballs. Remember? I think we talked about it in one of the videos. And I tested 9.4 and I said, you know, that's not bad for a wheat type product. So the next time it was an 8.4. So we just equated it to maybe it was the Moroccan stew or something different. So maybe it still deserves at least one more try because we did give the buckwheat a second shot. But 9.4 isn't terrible for me for something like that. And the one thing I will say is you saw me dump that whole pot in there and I'm not 100% sure that I got exactly a half portion. So we may have eaten more rice than we probably should have. It seemed like it in the meal because boy, did it taste good. Anyways, That's it for tonight. It's getting late, and we'll see what we get up to tomorrow.